types of plant tissues. So today we will go to our another topic, that is animal tissue. As we have discussed different types of plant tissue, here also we will have or we will read the subdivisions of animal tissue. So if we will divide broadly. Hello students. So in our earlier class we have discussed about plant tissue and also we have discussed about the some subdivisions of plant tissue. So today we will go to our next topic, that is animal tissue. As we have discussed the divisions of plant tissue, here also we will discuss the divisions of animal tissue. So if we will categorize animal tissue can be broadly categorized into 4 types. What are that? Epithelial tissue, connective tissue, muscular tissue and nervous tissue. If you can see here I have written epithelial tissue, okay, connective tissue, muscular tissue and nervous tissue. These are the 4 categories of what? Animal tissues. Again I am repeating: epithelial tissue, connective tissue, muscular tissue and nervous tissue. So 2 of them at first we will discuss. The first 2 types of animal tissue that we will discuss are epithelial tissue and connective tissue. Then we will go for muscular tissue and nervous tissue. So if you can see here I have done some of the important categories or important points of epithelial tissue and connective tissue. We will go one by one. So first one we will start epithelial tissue. Okay, as I told in plant tissue also, what is the work of epithelial tissue? Epithelial tissue mainly provides protection. So epithelial tissue generally it is present over the body, okay, over the skin, over the internal organ. It provides support, means it will take a pen. Generally it is covered with a polythene, it is wrapped with a polythene like this, that only, the same. If this is the internal organ, the outer covering will be the what? Epithelial tissue. The skin of our body, epithelial tissue. So epithelial tissue is mostly present on the surface or on the lining of different organs and also of our body. So epithelial tissue generally consists of cells with no intercellular space. There will be no intercellular space in between the cell in epithelial tissue. So epithelial tissue can again be categorized into simple epithelium and stratified epithelium. So sometimes epithelial tissue may be of single layer. And so simple epithelial tissue are the kind of epithelial tissue that has only single layer of cell, and stratified epithelial tissue is a kind of epithelial tissue that have multiple layers of cell. If I will draw here simple epithelium, it has only a single layer, okay, but stratified epithelium, okay, this is simple epithelium, okay. If you will see about stratified epithelium, then it has more layers like this. You can see there are number of layers in stratified epithelium. Got it? So epithelial tissues are the kind of tissues where there will be no space in between the cells, and they may be of single layer or they may be multi layers. If they are of single layer, we call it a simple epithelium. If there are more than 1 layers, we call it as stratified epithelium. Got it? Now, there are 4 types of simple epithelium. If you can see here, I have written 4 types of simple epithelium. The first one is squamous epithelium. Okay? The first kind of simple epithelium is squamous epithelium. So squamous epithelium is generally present in the lining of skin and blood vessels. Squamous epithelium is a kind of epithelium that are present on the lining of skin and blood vessels. If I can draw the structure of squamous, so this is the diagram of squamous epithelium. We can draw like this, okay, squamous epithelium which connects to one another, and you can see there will be no intercellular space in between the cells. Okay, there will be no intercellular space in between the cells. Now come to columnar epithelium. Columnar epithelium are the kind of epithelium which are present on the lining of stomach and small intestine. So one thing again I am telling, in squamous epithelium, as it is present on the lining of skin and blood vessel, the main function of squamous epithelium is to provide protection. It gives protection. Okay, remember, the main function of squamous epithelium is to provide protection. Now come to columnar epithelium. Columnar epithelium, as the name suggests, it is just like columns. Okay, like this. Okay, so these are columnar epithelium. These are the nucleus. Okay, these are the columnar epitheliums. So columnar epitheliums are present generally on the lining of stomach and small intestine. So if we will talk about the function of stomach and small intestine, already we have covered the digestive system in class 6. So what is the function of stomach and small intestine? Stomach and small intestine generally secretes the digestive juice, which generally helps in the digestion of food, and also it helps in the absorption of nutrients from the food, from the digested food. So the main work or the main function of columnar epithelium is to absorb and to secrete. Absorption and secretion, and these are present in the lining of stomach and small intestine. What is the function of squamous epithelium? Protection. What is the function of columnar epithelium? To absorb. It acts as a it performs the function of absorption and secretion. Next come to ciliated epithelium, ciliated columnar epithelium. Okay, ciliated columnar epithelium. Ciliated columnar epithelium also like this only, but with some variation in shape. Okay, these are ciliated columnar epithelium. Ciliated columnar epithelium. So these ciliated columnar epithelium, they are present in the inner lining of windpipe. Okay, ciliated columnar epitheliums are present towards the inner lining of windpipe. As I said, epithelial tissue always forms the lining. It may be the outer lining, it may be the inner lining. So ciliated columnar epitheliums are present towards the inner lining of windpipe, and the main function of ciliated columnar epithelium is that it helps the wind to pass smoothly towards the body by the help of windpipe. And also the cilia present in the ciliated columnar epithelium traps the dust particles. Sometimes if when we inhale, if sometimes dust will come, then it will be trapped by the help of ciliated columnar epithelium. So it helps the wind to move smoothly, and also it traps if any unwanted particle will come with air. The next one is cuboidal epithelium. As the name suggests, it is just like cubes. You can imagine an ice cube. Okay, it is just like cube. Cuboidal epithelium. Okay, so these are cuboidal epitheliums. They are just like cubes. That's why the name is cuboidal epithelium, and they are present on the walls of salivary glands. Okay, already we have discussed about salivary gland in your class 6. So these are present on the walls of salivary gland. So what is the work of salivary gland? It helps in secretion. What it secretes? It secretes salivary amylase. So this also acts as secretion. Again I am repeating, simple epithelium, or not only simple epithelium, we can say epithelial tissue. These 4 types which one I have written, it is not only for simple epithelium, it is for the epithelial tissue. From the starting I am repeating, epithelial tissue may be of simple epithelium, may be stratified epithelium. Okay, simple epithelium are of single layer, stratified epithelium are of multi layers. So epithelial tissue can be of 4 types. What are the 4 types of epithelial mostly present in the vein. Tubular epithelium, generally it also helps in what? Secretion. So these are the type of epithelial tissue. 4 types of epithelial tissue: squamous, columnar, ciliated and tubular. Next we will discuss another type of animal tissue, that is connective tissue. Already we have discussed epithelial tissue. Now come to what? Connective tissue. Connective tissue, connection means what? It will connect one part to another. So connective tissue mainly connects the organs, okay, inside our body. So what are the types of connective tissues? Let's discuss. The first one, here I have written, you can see connective tissue proper. Okay, there are 3 types of connective tissues: connective tissues proper, supportive connective tissue and fluid connective tissues. Okay, again I am repeating, there are 3 types of connective tissues. What are that? Connective tissue proper, supportive connective tissue and fluid connective tissue. So let's discuss one by one. The first one is connective tissue proper. Okay, connective tissue proper is again of 2 types: loose connective tissue and dense connective tissue. Got it? Connective tissue proper is again subdivided into loose connective tissue or loose connective tissue proper and dense connective tissue proper. So in loose connective tissue proper, generally it helps us packaging and binding material. See here I have written packaging and binding material, means it helps to connect organ to organ. And the main function of loose connective tissue, or the main function of the loose connective tissue proper, is that it helps the epithelial tissue to attach to the inner wall of the organ. It helps the epithelial tissue, suppose this is the epithelial tissue, then this loose connective tissue helps it to attach with the lining of the organ. This is the main work of this. That's why here I have written it acts as packaging and binding material. It helps us packaging and binding material. So here loose connective tissue again of 2 types: areolar tissue and adipose tissue. What are that? Areolar tissue and adipose tissue. Areolar tissues are mainly made up of collagen fibers. Okay, areolar tissues are mainly made up of collagen and elastic fibers. What are collagen fibers? Collagen fibers are the special kind of proteins that gives energy to our body. So areolar tissues are generally made up of collagen fibers and elastic fiber. And what is the function of areolar tissue? Binds the skin to muscles. Okay, it helps in binding. As I said, it helps in binding the skin with muscles, the outer skin with muscles. This is the function of areolar tissue. Again I am saying areolar tissue is made up of collagen fiber and elastic fiber, and it helps in binding the skin to muscles. The next type of loose connective tissue is adipose tissue. Adipose tissue we can also call it as fat tissue, because it is made up of fiber along with fat cells. Remember, adipose tissue is also known as fat tissue because it is made up of fiber along with fat cells. That's why each cell of adipose tissue is also known as adipocytes. Remember, each cell of adipose tissue means made up of different cells which are made up of fats. So each fat cell of adipose tissue is known as adipocytes. Okay. So what is the main function of adipose tissue? To store energy. As we have discussed earlier, what? Fats are made for storing energy in our body. So adipose tissue works mainly as storing energy. The second main function we can say protects internal organ. It is the second main function of adipose tissue. It protects the internal organ. Again I am repeating, just listen carefully. Loose connective tissue may be of 2 types: areolar connective tissue and adipose connective tissue. fibers with fats which helps them to store energy, and also they protect the internal organs. In short question it might come, what are the cells of adipose tissue called? What? Adipocytes. The cells of adipose tissues are called adipocytes. Got it? Now come to dense connective tissue. As I said, connective tissue proper is of two types, loose connective tissue and dense connective tissue. Dense connective tissue is also of two types. Here I have written see tendon and ligament. Okay? Loose connective tissue are of two types, that are areolar tissue and adipose tissue. Dense connective tissue are also of two types, tendons and ligaments. So tendons are generally made up of white fibers or white collagen fibers. Got it? Tendons are generally made up of white collagen fibers. And what is the main function of tendon? It connects muscles to bone. Remember this properly. The function of tendon, it connects muscles to bone. If we will take the example, any of our bone we can take, there will be an attachment. If you are non-vegetarian, then you can understand this example properly. There will be a connection of muscles with bone, and that connection is given by tendon. Tendon connects muscles to bone, and it also helps in muscular movement. When we move our body to go from one place to another place, tendon plays important role to move or for the movement of what? Muscles in our body. Next is ligament. Ligament is made up of yellow collagen fiber. Remember, tendons are made up of white fiber. Ligaments are made up of yellow fibers. What is the main function of ligament? It connects bone to bone. Remember this. These 2 points remember carefully. Tendons helps to connect bones to muscles. Ligaments helps to connect bone to bone. There will be a connection. See, if you can see here, we can able to move this. This is a bone and this is a bone. There will be a connection in between the bone. Leg also, or neck also, any bone, there will be a connection in between, so that we can able to move our hands, legs and all. So the connection between bone to bone are made by ligaments. And again one function is what? It gives stability to bone during movement. So as there is a fixation, two bones get fixed in a place due to ligaments. That's why when we move our hands, when we move our legs, so if we will move speedily also, there will be no separation of bone. They are held tightly. It gives stability to the bone. Okay, so that's why ligament connects bone to bone and it also gives stability to bone during movement. Got it? Again, shortly I am repeating. Dense connective tissue are of two types, tendons and ligaments. Tendons are made up of white fibers. Ligaments are made up of yellow fibers. Tendons connects muscles to bone. Connects muscles to bone. And ligament connects bones to bones. Okay? And the main function of tendon is to helps in the muscular movement. And the main function of ligament is to it provides stability to bone when we move it. Okay, so this is all about connective tissue proper. Now come to another part of connective tissue, that is supportive connective tissue. As I said, connective tissue can be classified into or can be subdivided into three types. What are they? Connective tissue proper, supportive connective tissue and fluid connective tissue. So now come to supportive connective tissue. Supportive connective tissue means, if you will think of our body, there will be a skeletal system. Somewhere in some lab or in TV also, sometimes you might have seen a skeleton. Okay, a skeleton is a framework of our body, which makes the framework of our body. We look as the shape of our skeleton. So there are two parts of supportive connective tissues. What are that? Bones and cartilage. Okay, so one by one we will discuss. Let's first discuss about bones. So bones are a are made up of small bone cells, and that bone cells are called osteocytes. Remember, the bone cells are called osteocytes. So if we can see in your higher class, you can see in your, higher class means like in graduation or when you will go to the higher level of study, you can see the dissection or the parts, internal transfer section of these bones and all in the microscope, and then it will be clearly visible. If we will see a bone under microscope, then it has some appearance. What is the appearance? Let's see. So, as I said, bones are made up of small cells, and the cells of bones are called osteocytes, and they are present in a specific, or they are arranged in a specific manner, like this circular manner, and this space is called as lacunae. Okay, this is one lacunae, this is one lacunae. Okay, again here one. So the space where osteocytes are present, we call it as lacunae. Okay, and osteocytes, they arrange themselves in ring manner, in concentric ring manner. Okay, so these are osteocytes. Got it? These are osteocytes, and the space where osteocytes are present, we call it as lacunae. Here I am writing. Okay, let's take only one lacunae so that it will be clear to us. This cell, osteocyte. Okay, the space where osteocytes are present, lacunae. Okay, and they arrange themselves in a concentric manner. So in between, okay, again I am making some osteocytes. Okay, in between the osteocytes, there are some canal-like structures. Okay, there are some canal-like structure which connects one cell to another. Which connects one cell to another. If you can see here, there will be a canal-like structure which connects one cell to another cell. This canal is called canaliculi. Canaliculi. Canaliculi is the connection or a canal which connects the what? Cells inside the lacunae. And if you can see, at the middle, it forms a small ring, concentric ring. So, bones also need nutrition. So, the nutritions are supplied to bone by the help of blood vessels. Blood will supply nutrition to the bone, and it also take away waste material from bone. So, at the middle, this canal is called as Haversian canal. Haversian canal. Okay, so don't get confused. This diagram is also in your book. Go through it. The cells of bones are called osteocytes. Osteocytes arrange themselves in a space. The space where they get arranged themselves in a ring manner, that space is called lacunae. Okay, and there is a connection in between the cells. That connection, that canal is called as canaliculi. And at the middle of the bone, there is a small hole where the blood vessels are supplied. Okay, and that hole is called Haversian canal. Okay, that canal is called Haversian canal. By means of that blood vessels, nutrients can be supplied to what? Bones, and also the waste materials are taken away from bones. So, this is all about bones. Remember all these terms: osteocytes, lacunae, okay, canaliculi, and Haversian canal. Now come to cartilage. Cartilage are same as bone, but they are not as tough as bone. They are little soft from bone. Okay, one more thing about bone I forgot. See, bones are generally inside the bone, some fluids are present. Okay, there is a fluid, we call it as matrix. Remember, matrix means fluid. Okay, so inside the bone there is a fluid content present, we call it as matrix. So what is the content of that fluid? Magnesium salt, potassium salt, calcium salt, okay, which makes the bone stronger. Okay, there will be a deposition of magnesium, potassium, calcium over that matrix, which make the bone stronger. So inside the bone there is a fluid present which have calcium, magnesium and potassium content, and that fluid is also called as matrix, which provides what? Strength to bone. Now come to cartilage. Cartilage are the soft bones. If you can see your ear pinna, this is your ear. Okay, this is made up of what? Cartilage. Tip of your nose, this is made up of cartilage. Those who are non-vegetarian, they can easily recognize. You can sometimes you can observe that to the top of the bone there is a soft bone which can be crunched easily. That is cartilage. So cartilage are present towards the end of each bone. Okay, towards the end of each long bone means in between the junction, cartilage are present. So cartilage are soft bones. We can for location of cartilage you can write ear, nose, or to the end of bone, or also trachea. Okay, trachea also have cartilage. So these cartilage, they supports the organ and they helps to maintain the stability of the organ. Only remember, cartilage are the soft bone which are present in some part of our body. So this is all about supportive connective tissue. And the last part of connective tissue is fluid connective tissue. So fluid connective tissue are of two types. What are the? Blood and lymph. The two types of fluid connective tissues are blood and lymph. Only I am giving you a recap about blood. Already you have studied in class 6. Okay, so blood generally helps in transportation of nutrients throughout our body, and also it takes out what? Waste material from the body. Blood generally contains a fluid part and it also contains a solid part, as we have discussed. The fluid part of blood is called plasma, which is straw in color, and the solid part of blood is called as corpus cells. So what are the solid parts of blood? RBC, WBC and platelets. There are three solid parts of blood. We can say RBC, WBC, red blood cell, white blood cells and platelets. RBC are also known as erythrocytes. WBC are also known as leukocytes, and platelets are also known as thrombocytes. Okay, already we have studied in our earlier classes. So what is the work of RBC? RBC helps in carrying oxygen. It carries oxygen throughout our body. Okay, what is the work of WBC? It provides protection against germ. We have learned one topic, what? Phagocytosis. We have already discussed about phagocytosis. It is a tendency where WBC engulf the microorganisms and it digests it. So WBC provides a main function as protection to our body. And what about platelets? Platelets helps in blood clotting. Already we have discussed. RBC helps in the transfer of, or it carries oxygen throughout our body. WBC gives protection to our body, and what? Platelets helps in the clotting of blood. So these all are the things that are present in blood. Okay, so this is all about blood. Again, the next part is lymph. So do you know where blood can flow? Inside the blood vessels. So what all are the blood vessels? Arteries, veins and capillaries. Detailed discussion we will have in another chapter. Okay, so blood flows inside blood vessels. The same lymph flows inside lymph vessels, or we call it as lymphatic vessels. So what is lymph? Lymph is also a kind of fluid present inside our body. It is generally straw color. Okay, blood is red in color. Why? Due to the presence of iron. We can also call it as what? Hemoglobin. Okay, and hemoglobin carries what? Iron pigment. That's why it gives a red color to blood. Already this part is over. So lymph. Lymph is another kind of fluid. It is straw in color. It flows inside lymphatic vessel, and the main function of lymph is to give protection to our body. Just remember that. Details we will have in our other chapter. So lymph provides protection to our body against some microorganisms. One simple example I am giving: tonsil. Okay, tonsil is an organ which has lymph. We call it the lymph nodes. Okay, so tonsils generally protects our body whenever we are by the help of wind or by the help of food. Suppose sometimes microorganisms are entering to our body, then it gets trapped in tonsil, and by the help of lymph the microorganisms get, but it makes the microorganisms dead. That's why sometimes there will be a swollen, there will be a swelling in the tonsil. We call it as tonsillitis. That part, these all part later on we will discuss. So fluid connective tissue are of two types: blood and lymph. Okay, we have already discussed about the function of blood and lymph. So these are all about epithelial tissue and connective tissue, epithelial tissue types, connective tissue and their types. Everything we have discussed. Next, another two tissue. Afterwards, we will discuss.